Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the Amplify build phases, pre-build, post-build, which forms the foundation of automated deployments in AWS Amplify. Now these phases are critical for ensuring that your application is properly prepared, compiled, tested, and finalized before it goes live. So in this video, I'm going to break down each phase step by step so you can understand its purpose, learn about best practices, and see how they fit together in the CI/CD pipeline. So by the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to configure these phases effectively for smoother and more reliable deployments. So the Amplify build process is defined through an amplify.yml file, YAML file, directly in the Amplify console. Now this configuration outlines the exact what commands should run in each of the three build phases. Now these phases, pre-build, build, and post-build, are near like CI/CD workflows, but are tailored for Amplify's integration environment. So by setting them up properly, you can streamline deployments, reduce errors, and maintain a predictable production pipeline across your development teams. Let's talk about the pre-build phase, which is essentially the preparation stage. Now this is where you make sure your environment is ready before the actual build begins. Now, typical tasks include installing dependencies using commands like npm CI or yarn install, setting up environment variables, for example, and running static analysis tools to catch early issues. You can also use the space to configure authentication keys, for example, or API integrations needed for the build. So these are all dependencies. By doing this upfront, we reduce the risk of errors later during the compilation or deployment, ensuring a clean and ready environment for the build phase. Here's an example how you would actually define the pre-build in your Amplify YAML file. Using commands like npm CI ensures that the dependencies are installed exactly as defined in your lock file, which improves consistency. Adding echo statements such as echo, setting up pre-build tasks, is also a good practice. Now, these logs make debugging easier if something goes wrong during the pipeline. Overall, this phase ensures your build environment is fully prepared and predictable before moving to the next step. The build phase is the heart of your Amplify pipeline. This is where your application is compiled, packaged, and transformed into production-ready assets. For front-end apps, it involves running commands like npm run build or framework-specific tools like build for Angular, build for React. If your project includes back-end functions such as AWS Lambda, for example, this is also the stage where those are compiled. So it's essentially the step that takes your source code and prepares it for hosting. So in this example, the build phase includes the npm run build command to compile assets, followed by an echo message to confirm completion. Now these logs are important for monitoring your pipeline in real time. So by the end of this phase, your application is packaged into a deployable format. Now this step is critical because without a proper build, it's going to fail. Amplify won't have the correct files to deploy to the hosting environment. The post-build phase, finally, is all about final checks and deployment readiness. So after your code is built, this stage is perfect for running automated tests like EC2 or other cleaning up any temporary files or compressing assets or anything that you want to do in the post-build. For example, you can send Slack alerts or webhooks once the build passes. Now this helps keep teams informed and ensures that the application is fully validated before going live. Let me show you a sample YAML file showing you how pre-build, build, and post-build are all defined in one place. So let me explain what each step does in here. The Amplify YAML file is used by AWS Amplify to deploy the deployment process for the front-end application. It starts with the version. For example, one declaration which specifies the version of the build specification format being used. The main section is the front-end block, which organizes the build workflow into three distinct phases: pre-build, build, and post-build. The pre-build phase is where you typically install dependencies, like I mentioned earlier, like your app needs to compile and run. For example, npm install is commonly used to install packages listed in your package.json file. Now this ensures that your environment is properly set up before the actual build begins. Next, in the begin build phase, you run your commands, usually npm run build, which generates the production-ready version of your app. Now this might involve bundling JavaScript, compiling TypeScript, or generating static HTML files, depending on the framework you're using. The post-build phase executes after the build is complete and often used for cleanup, logging, or moving build artifacts into the right location for deployment. Now, while it's optional, it can be useful for additional automation or custom scripting. So after the build step, the artifact section tells Amplify where to find the files that should be deployed. The base directory is usually the output folder like build for React or a dist directory for Angular. The files like asterisk or the / for example pattern simply means that all files in the folder should be uploaded and deployed. And finally, the cache section improves build efficiency by storing specific paths between builds and most commonly the node_module directory. This allows Amplify tools to avoid re-downloading and reinstalling dependencies, significantly speeding up the future builds for you. So together, these sections make the Amplify deployment process streamlined, automated, and customizable for most modern front-end frameworks. It also includes an artifact section, by the way, which specifies output directory and a cache section to speed up builds by reusing dependencies. Now this configuration is highly flexible, by the way, make it easier for you to adapt to different project needs, whether you're building a React application, a Node.js backend, or even a full stack app. To optimize your pipeline, keep your pre-build phase lightweight, only include the necessary setup tasks here. And we can run unit tests early, but reserve more, be extensive in post-build phase. Also, make use of caching to significantly cut down build time. And finally, adding clear logs at every stage is also a best practice. They act as breadcrumbs, making troubleshooting faster if a phase failed. The key takeaway is that Amplify's pre-build, build, and post-build phases provide a structured CI/CD pipeline tailored for cloud-hosted apps. Each phase has its unique purpose, and together they help ensure smooth, automated deployments. By applying best practices, like I mentioned, like caching, proper logging, and separating these concerns, you can reduce build time, improve reliability, and make your deployment far more predictable. To wrap up, mastering Amplify's build phases is essential for model cloud development. These stages not only automate your deployments, but also provide a flexibility for testing, logging, and integration tasks. So by structuring your build commands effectively, you actually create a CI/CD pipeline which runs smooth, faster, and more efficient, and less prone to error, whether you're deploying front-end, whether it's back-end, or full-stack Amplify app. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified for the latest tech videos. My name is Syed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.